go, footings have been dug out. Now we're just trying to move this bit of concrete. See if we can get it out in one piece. I might be able to reuse it, otherwise just have to bust it up and use it as fill somewhere, but so steel has turned up. This could be interesting. Got no idea how deep this is. Theoretically it should only be 6 inches, you would imagine, but starting to move. Cool. I'm just going to try and drag this out the way for the time being, and if it works, I'm going to get Phil to scratch out the 4 inches deep here, ready for floor, and we might try and reuse this piece of concrete if we can, and then that will save 17-foot square chunk of concrete that I don't have to buy. Beautiful. Now we've got that scratched out as best we can anyway. That'll give me a head start on the leveling the floor off. Just getting rid of this pile of dirt from where he's dug it all down. Nice little pile of gravel there as well from around the sides, which has come in handy. I've filled a few holes already with it. Successfully shifted the concrete pad, which is, as I think I've said, 17 by 17, so in theory I should be able to reuse that slab now. Once I get the walls down and clean out along the edges of the existing concrete. Being 17 by 17, it will slip inside where the footings have to go, so even if I've dug the footing holes, if I can't push it back in before I get Phil to come back and push it in, because, well, we'll see what happens. If I can't lift it, push it or lift it, I'll have to get him to come back and do it, at least that way, if I need to lift it, to put a bit of fill under it to level it off. It might be easier with the excavator that way. You can just pull up whichever corner needs to be lifted, whereas I'll be a little bit limited with what I can do, if I can lift it at all. guarantee that we can lift the bloody thing because it does look rather thick. So now we can make a start on pulling the walls down. I've already made a start on working on the posts and be able to start on the trusses shortly as well. So once we can get that done and get some holes dug and footings in, things should progress fairly well. And I've decided that I am only pulling that wall down and that wall. I'm not pulling the roof down and the other wall. I'm going to try and put the new trusses and posts up without removing the old bit. So it could be interesting, but I have the utmost faith that it will work, because I obviously have a little bit of a plan in my head of how I'm going to tackle it. So anyway, cleaned out the concrete barriers from around the insides of the shed yesterday afternoon and moving a few other things, bit of preparation. So now that everything's turned up, all the steel and everything, and this is done and out the way, and the majority of the fencing is done and gates hung and everything, I've just got some underground cable to run now. That paddock is fully fenced now. Stupid mongrel spawn of the devil horse cider wire on top just to keep in the theme of everything else around here, and being the show paddock, the first paddock you see when you drive in. I thought, bugger it, I'll run a horse cider wire there. The only thing I have to do now that I'm waiting on is poly droppers, a couple of droppers between each span. I've run 6 plain wires with 2 live out of the 6, and the horse cider wire on top, which, like I said, is the spawn of the devil himself, just like stupid fucking horses. If I was ever doing a horse farm, if the stupid horses are that blind that they run into fucking fences, the cunts deserve to fucking die. So anyway, it's done, looks good. So another thing I have to do now, rewire or run a power point to this side of the shed for the weighbridge, so that you don't have to climb through the fence to get to the switch box to turn the weighbridge on. I've got to run power from the back of the shed up and across and down and over, so I need about 50 metres of cable to do that, which will work quite handily anyway, because then if you ever needed to, if you wanted to put an electric transfer pump or pressure pump onto that tank, I'll have a power available over there close enough for it to work. So still trying to determine how, if, how, more how than if I do doors on this shed. May not be this year, probably won't be, well, who knows, it might be this year. Depends how long this extension takes. But, got a bit of time still to think about it, so no doubt I'll have changed my mind 5 times on what I want to do. I haven't got a concrete idea yet, but just concentrate on this, get this done first. Right, a couple of hours later and a slight change of plans. Got all that cleaned up, gravel moved from here, dirt moved from there, but that is unpushable with the tubby, and I can barely lift it. I can get the forks under it and just minusculely lift it. Cannot push it at all, which I didn't think I'd be able to, even though Phil thought it would. It won't. So he's busily cleaning channels for me at the moment. I had said to him if I can't move it, he might have to come back and relocate it, because what I want to do is relocate it back in and try and reuse it. So I kind of figure, see how generous he is, and whether it can come back tomorrow to do it, finish it off, because he was going to leave the excavator here over the rest of the weekend anyway. Because I couldn't relocate that until I had the wall down of the shed so that we could dig under the pad, the existing one, so I can butt it up against it. So, a couple of hours later, or an hour later, whatever it is, and I've whipped those sheets of iron off, which I had not planned on doing just yet. I've still got the top ones to go, but that will at least let me whip out the bottom couple of purlins there, dig across there a bit, and we might, if he's feeling generous, rather than having to come back and do it, he may as well do it while he's still here. So that would save me a fair bit of mucking around if we can manage to organise that, because I would like it the same height as the existing concrete. So chances are we may have to dig it down a little bit more, shove it in, check the height, and might have to lift each corner up and shove a bit of dirt or something back under it to level it off,